Corn is done. Time to switch over to soybeans. You girls ready to switch over to soybeans? Huh? Hey, Didge, come here. Get excited. Soybean season. I tend to like corn better too. There we go. There's a little energy. Obviously, we will have some changes to make to the planter. I don't believe it's too difficult. If I remember correctly, most planters aren't, especially nowadays, but this will only be my second time ever switching an exact emerge over, so I'm gonna have to make sure I'm doing things right.
Spot ethanol futures, $2.56 per gallon in Chicago ethanol.
Number one, first thing we gotta do is get inside the row units here. Hold on, taking it off with one hand. Get inside here, take the bowls off, dump the corn seed that's in them, clean that out, and we're gonna switch these. Here's the bowl I just took out of here. And for the planter guys out there on these new Exact Emerge planters, they are called bowls, okay? They're not plates anymore. This is a bowl for obvious reasons. This bowl has got 32 holes in it. Here's the soybean one that's going in. Pretty similar, but you'll notice it's got twice as many holes. Because when we plant soybeans, we plant the population 4 to 5 times higher than we're planting corn, so there's much more seed going through there. Takes a different control mechanism. That's what we'll call it. Other things we have to do is to disengage completely the double eliminator. So we're taking these fingers totally out of the equation. These go by and make sure they knock out any extra corn seed that goes by in the bowl. We completely pull those out of there, and then this strip down here, I think I'll need maybe a screwdriver to get under it, but we switch this. I couldn't tell you exactly what that does or why we switch it, but the yellow ones are the ones that go in for soybeans. They're much smoother. And that's about as technical as I'm gonna get. I'm just gonna get it done now. Those are the only changes we make inside here. The final thing is to put in our plates or our bowls, set them right on there like that, and lock them in, but I'm gonna need both hands to do it. Close the cover. Everything inside is done. As long as it's in the shop here, I am gonna go through and grease everything. The other thing I need to do is adjust the gauge wheels. So you don't want these to have too much clearance and roll too easy, because if there's space here, what can happen is you'll get dirt and mud inside these openers and the gauge wheels. So you want to keep those nice and snug so that all the tolerances are tight and everything tends to do a good job. Now the majority of those are going to be awfully close, but since it is new and I did find 2 or 3 loose ones the other day, I'm just going to run through, make sure they're all set to, within decent tolerances. And since I'm an organized guy, I've got the wrenches for doing that right here, just in case I needed to do it out in the field sometime. Everyone should get in the habit of keeping their most important wrenches down by their feet so they rattle around and get in your way. Now this one here, yeah, that's loose. See, it's even loose inside here. It's got some wiggle to it. Definitely needs some adjustment. This one right here, however, it's right there. I don't want to spend time adjusting all of them. I think like that's acceptable. That's not a big deal. Probably especially on soybeans and with running in dry conditions. I'm going to say 80% of them are probably good, but we'll do some tweaking. Aren't these wrenches just schwanky? Look at those things. I gotta say, I do not regret switching everything in this shop over to GearWrench at all. Check this out. They got 120 XP ratchets. There's one right there. I thought it was 120 teeth. It's so fine. They've got what I call the normal handled ratchets. They got these softer handled ratchets. We got metric, we got standard. We got the deep sockets, the shallows, and the mid-length sockets, which I think is really cool, really handy sometimes. We got plenty of ratchets where the heads flip. We got shorty ratchets. This is a 3/8 drive shorty ratchet. Very handy when needed. And of course, all your standard wrenches, along with the original gear wrench. Can never have too many of those. And lastly, grease. The tractor's got a lot of grease points on it, tracks included. There are several things on the tracks that I like to grease because there's a lot of moving pieces there. We got to grease up underneath inside the row cleaners, not often, but I didn't do it when I started this year, so shame on me. I'll get those. I'll get the arms back here on the gauge wheels, and there's a few miscellaneous ones just around the planter that should get hit. Well, there's 10 rows, just under half the planter. I'll see you guys in like 14 rows or so. Everything is greased, gauge wheels are set, row units are all switched over. Now one of the last things we gotta do is dump the tanks here. There's just a little bit in the bottom of these tanks. So the way I like to do it, or the proper way, is to kind of just prop your leg and your knee up and hold the bag with one hand as one person, and then if it gets too full, you drop it. And that's your gauge to know if you've got too much in there or not. So if that happens, I'm gonna make sure it's on video for you guys. You're welcome. I don't really know how much is in there, but it shouldn't be a lot. Getting a little heavy. There. That wasn't so bad. Now you guys know I'm a millennial. This is tough for me, seeing my hands all dirty. The other one's the same way, you wouldn't believe it. I actually do really hate that graphite all over my hands because that dust gets on everything. Could use a little DEF or diesel exhaust fluid, so I'm gonna wheel some of that over. Fill that up before I leave the shop. That's a terrible spot to take a nap right now. She is unfazed.
Here Liz, where they took him for
There,
surgery?
now she's phased. And of course we need a little bit of diesel. And while that is running, I am going to tinker around with the monitor here and see if I can screw some stuff up. There we go. Found it. Soybeans. Oh, we'll worry about that later.
Do any of the varieties say they're better for grody ground or not really?
Not on soybeans, no. Nothing that says specifically for droughty. There's several for poor white mold. It looks like the 1421s are the best ones on IDC on the heavier ground. Now I normally would not need to clear everything out and run a purge test, but I gotta unfold it anyway to get to some grease zerks that I want to hit, and so I may as well just do that. Diagnostics, procedures, runoff, planter. We're gonna increase this. As expected, it performed very poorly on that runoff test, which it should have because there is no seed in it. We could honestly swing the auger out and load straight into the planter, but the biggest thing I like about this the most is that it's got the automatic talc dispenser, so I don't have to get talc all over myself. It's just a lot cleaner, and this is easy enough to do. Did you get it done out there?
Huh?
Did you get it done out there?
Oh yeah, aren't you got it half done yet?
Well, I'm not quite there, but I did get the planters ready to go. I even greased the markers.
Oh, about time. What,
Take it easy. I just got out of bed a couple hours ago.
Yeah, I believe that.
Well, now that it's already almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I should probably have a little lunch, go plant some soybeans. Now, it doesn't take until 3 o'clock in the afternoon to switch a planter over to beans, but I did so many other things and had so many other interruptions. Jim and Dad were in and out. They got a lot of tillage done and rocks picked while I was working in there. Plus, I was by myself and I didn't push it. We're doing okay. It appears as though everything's going in the ground. Everything's been going really good, but when you change crops, you gotta keep an eye on stuff. I've only gone a few hundred feet here, but I'm gonna get out and dig a little bit, make sure my depth is okay. We might want to raise it up just a notch. See what I think here. It's hard compacted here on the end rows. We bring a lot of trucks in and out of here, so the soil is compacted more. That might be deeper than, that's deeper than we planted before, but with the soil this dry, we're trying to get them down under the ground, hopefully into moisture. I think they look good, but I'm gonna have Dad come out and dig just so that we line up. He might tell me to go a notch shallower. In the meantime, I think we can adjust our CCS pressure down a hair, and then back to work. Do you want to come dig on the ends here and see what you think? I got a feeling you'll probably think we should go a notch shallower, but see what you think. I know that it's the end rows too, keep in mind. I was right. He agreed with me. It's easy enough to change the depths. All you gotta do, come over here. There's about 3/8 of an inch, and we're gonna go one more, just like that. Definitely too shallow.
Go with a remanufactured engine is probably going to be cheaper, but they're still digging into it.
Is it because of the water pump issue?
It probably would have to be, wouldn't it, almost? With only 2,000 hours.
Between the engine and transmission, then, that's the total value of the tractor.
Yeah.
You know, that'd be the value that they were willing to give us for trade.
It is. We should have traded, I guess, huh?
Well, yeah, I guess so. We should have bought that one on auction last summer is what we really should have done. Apparently, the 9560 RT, which went down yesterday that you guys saw if you watched that video, got hauled back in, went down. The dealership is saying that there's quite a few shavings in the oil. More than likely, it's going to need a reman engine. It's not a real old tractor, obviously. It's 7 or 8 years old. We've owned it for 4 years probably. And there was some other work that was done, so we'll see how that goes. But anyway, that's the update on that. I don't know anything more than that as of right now. But here's something I'm excited about. So this hilltop right here, very, very sandy hilltop. We have a lot of problems with it blowing in the winter. You can see very coarse textured soils, very, very light sand. Last fall, we spread 60 pounds of rye seed out here, and I just very, very lightly incorporated that in, almost to the point where it's no-till. I just touched it with the VT tool with the Mandeko Storm. We've got some rye grown out here. It's a lot thinner than I was hoping. It's a lot smaller than I was hoping, but we're planting right through it. Now, this is our driest soil by far we have anywhere on the farm, and it's been a dry spring. So I don't have any worries about how this is gonna work out right now. In a wet spring, in a wetter area, could be a different story, but that's why we tested it here first. I'm excited to see the rye coming through. We started a fire there, burned a little brush pile, and it's kind of back burning slowly into the wind. But I'm excited to see the rye come through. Eventually we will kill the rye off, let the soybeans grow through it, and I'm hoping the rye will help suppress some weed pressure, maybe prevent some wind erosion in the winter. All kinds of good stuff, keep some living biology in the soil. I'm excited about it right now. It's a good way to warm up that seed bed. We just had a front kind of roll over top of us here, and you can really see the clouds rolling in. There's a few sprinkles on the windshield. For a minute there, I thought it was gonna start raining. I know there's stuff on the radar up there to the northwest. I'm gonna chance it, head back to the other end of the field. Look at those row cleaners in action. I do not regret getting those. There was definitely a learning curve there, but this is cool. Seed man is back. We got about 110, 12 acres down. About 110, 12 more to go. I thought we were maybe gonna get rained out for a little bit there.
Yeah, it's rained.
It is.
8% chance this afternoon.
Well, it didn't happen.
No.
Loaded. Farming. I thought that sunset coming through here with kind of the pop-up shower clouds a little bit ago was cool. I don't know if the camera does this justice, but this is about to get real sweet. That is an Instagram moment right there. If you guys are not following me on Instagram, you should be. It's at mnmillennialfarmer. For reasons like that,